So we are reading from a book which is called Nectar of Instruction, right? And we first started talking about what is the qualification of a person who is able to go teach, preach, and be a guru, which is by the practice of devotional service. Verse 2 talked about the things that is going to spoil our devotional service, which you have to be very careful about. Eating too much, collecting too much, over-endeavoring for things, talking too much. All of those things, like everything too much, which keeps us binded to our identification with the body. Then 6 things, as the third instruction was, the 6 things which are favorable for our spiritual progress: being enthusiastic, being confident, being patient, following the regulative principles, abandoning the association of non-devotees, and following the footsteps of the previous acharyas. Right? So if we look at the continuation now from the third verse, where we talked about all the favorable things which included association with devotees in a particular way as being favorable for our Krishna consciousness, for our spiritual path, the instruction 4 now is going to talk about how is that supposed to be done. When we are coming to the temple, when we associate with devotees, we engage with each other. What is the way in which we are supposed to be engaging? Right? Yes. So let's recite the words together for those who are able to. Okay. Dadati pratigrahati guyam akhayati prayachati bhunakte bhujayante chaiva sadvidim pratilakshanam. Is the translation? Offering gift in charity, accepting charitable gifts, revealing one's mind in confidence, inquiring confidentially, accepting prasadam, and offering prasadam are 6 symptoms of love shared by one devotee in another. So the verse is pretty straightforward in terms of what you need, and Prabhupada also kind of talks about similar things in the purport. He does not focus too much on the 6 things. When were we at the receiving end of this loving exchange? And third, how do you think that helped in Krishna consciousness? Okay, so let's just read, and while you're reading, just meditate on these 3 things. Okay, and then we'll go around and we can take examples and we can share our realizations of it. Okay. In this verse, Srila Rupa Goswami explains how to perform devotional service in association of other devotees. There are 6 kind of activities: giving charity to the devotee, accepting from the devotee whatever they may have offer in return, opening one's mind to the devotee, inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord, honoring prasadam or spiritual food given by the devotees, and feeding the devotees with prasadam. An experienced devotee explains and an inexperienced devotee learns from him. This is Guyam Akhayati Prachati. When a devotee distributes prasadam, remittance of food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to maintain our spirit of devotional service, we must accept this prasadam as the Lord's grace received through the pure devotees. We should also invite pure devotees to our home, offer them prasadam, and be prepared to please them in all respects. This is Bhunakte Bhujayante Chaiva. So let's go around. First one, okay? Let's go one by one with each, okay? And just raise your hands if you have some realizations to share on that. Giving charity to devotees. Has anybody done that? Has anybody given? Let's talk the other way around. Has anybody received charity from any other devotee? Go.
Does giving charity also means gifting books or anything like that, or is that different?
Yes, you can. Yes, you can take that also. That is also a loving exchange, yes.
Yes, I have. In some occasions, I've gifted books to devotees.
Okay.
On their birthdays or any other occasion.
And how did you feel that helped in Krishna consciousness?
By reading that book, they will definitely read about Krishna, and then.
How did you, while giving, did that help you with Krishna consciousness?
Oh yes, I mean, like it helped building that bond between us, like making that bond stronger.
Very nice.
And by having that stronger bond, then I can actually get help from them because they are actually more advanced than me in the practice.
Fair enough.
And after that, I can reveal my mind in confidence to them and then get help from them.
Fantastic, very nice. Who has received such a charity? Anybody has an example of where they received such a charity? Yes.
I received books from a devotee, and the set that I received was Lilamrita.
Oh, nice.
And yeah, reading Lilamrita, I started reading, and I regularly read it. It has deepened my bond with Srila Prabhupada, and it's helped me immensely to stay anchored in my sadhana.
Very nice, very nice. So giving charity and receiving charity, both of them is in some way or the other helpful in our Krishna consciousness, because at the base of it, what Srila Rupa Goswami is talking about, it strengthens the loving relationship between devotees. Prabhupada will explain that in the next paragraph also, that we are used to such loving exchanges even in materialistic terms also. We do that exchange of gifts also. Can somebody think of, you talked of the two things together, that's okay. Can somebody think of any boundaries that has to be thought of while doing this? What should be the consideration while giving and receiving? Yes.
Not expecting anything in return.
Fair enough. When you're giving, don't expect something in return. Any other thing that can come? Can you think of something that one should be considering while giving gifts and receiving gifts? No? Anybody else?
No expectation.
Fair. No expectations is fine. What I feel is, just as a point for me to share, is when we are gifting somebody, we should also be considerate that we are not creating a burden on them, because they also will be reciprocating in some ways or the other. You keep giving huge expensive gifts much beyond the capability of that person to reciprocate equally. Even that then becomes a problem. Such gifting will not be loving exchanges. So the love, when we are exchanging gifts, it is meant for love to increase and not to showcase material possessions, or from that perspective, right? So the gift needs to be such which is, it's not necessarily it has to be value of money, but value in terms of loving exchange and value in terms of helping in Krishna consciousness. That is why we were tying it back to Krishna consciousness. You were saying something, Prabhu? Sorry?
I was saying usefulness, yeah.
Yeah. So give something which is useful, but useful from the perspective of helping in Krishna consciousness, like books, the examples that came in. In the similar way, there could be other paraphernal activities that could be very helpful in practice of devotional service. When I was here in this very room, and then farewell was being done and I was going back to India. So I was gifted with these hoodies, and I was gifted with so many other different things, which I kept in for 10-15 years with me, like with lovingly, because there was so much of love in it. Right? So that is the loving exchange that we are talking about. It might not hold material value by itself, but there is a lot of love in it, and that love is what always kept me connected back to saying this is the temple from where I got the seed of bhakti and from where I got so much of love. Right? Alright, let's go to the next ones. Opening one's mind to the devotee. Have we done that? Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
Like we do it every Sunday, like Ishtagoshti.
Ishtagoshti, very nice.
Kind of reflections in such a way.
Right. Anybody else having any? Yes.
Sharing our realizations with our mentors, or telling them wherever we are lacking.
Right.
Because we cannot tell everything to everyone, but those are the like safe person.
Correct. And how does this help?
So they give, so first of all, they don't judge you, and they give a nice advice on
Right.
which you can work on, and they give it in such a way that you can also digest it.
Right. So opening one's mind to the devotee should actually, so let's first talk about the very basic principle everywhere, right? In every individual should have at least one person that they can go and with confidence reveal whatever is in their heart. Why is that very important? Because if you keep putting things in your heart and not revealing it, it keeps building up, building up, building up, and it is a problem for you. It is one of the leading reasons why you get into depression or some similar issues. Suicidal thoughts, etc. come in just because you don't have anybody whom you think you can reveal with confidence. In association of devotees, the biggest thing that happens is, as you rightly mentioned, there is no judgment. When you are revealing your hearts with a devotee, it is with the perspective that this is what my situation is, and they're not judging you. They're just seeing if there is a way to help you out, or if nothing else. What the other side of it also has to be understood it very well. Sometimes when somebody is revealing their heart to you, they are not necessarily looking for a solution or an advice. They're sometimes just wanting an ear and somebody to just listen to them, right? So depending on your relationship of how it works, be a good listener also, where you're listening to others. That's also a loving exchange where somebody feels confident enough to come and reveal things to you. There have been incidents with me where I went to my god brother and revealed to him I actually went to him, he's pretty senior to me, but I went to him and said, I did not like this about you, I think you cheated me. Right? And he was very lovingly listening to me completely, not making a judgment, not trying to defend himself. But then he will let it settle down. He let me vent out completely, and then he came back afterwards and said, this is what was from my perspective. I said, makes sense. Right? So that exchange of revealing things confidently sometimes really, really, really helps to strengthen relationships. It is not only from a spiritual perspective. Spiritual perspective is very important because that revealing helps you in elevating yourself into the spiritual path. But otherwise also it is a very important thing to have. So have at least one person in the devotee association with whom you can go and reveal yourself, your true, complete self always. Okay? It could be anybody. And next one. Inquiring from them about the confidential service of the Lord. Can anybody explain what that means? What do you think about it? What does it mean to inquire about confidential service of the Lord? Any guesses? So sometimes when you're doing devotional service, right, there are a lot of aspects about services which you have as realization, which you don't just want to talk in general because people might not fully have the capability to understand, realize it, may just not be mature enough spiritually to understand it, but they are realizations that you're having. So you sometimes share those realizations, like when you're visiting a temple, something happens. Long ago, there was this incident where, and during this India trip also, I ended up doing something like that and it really helped. But whenever I'm going to these temples, right, there is one prayer that I go with for sure, right? And that one prayer would depend on what is the thing that I'm struggling most with, right? It could be one of these bad habits, the anarthas, that is there existing within deep inside my heart, that people in general might not be able to recognize just because of Vaishnava Acharan, the behavior of how a Vaishnava is supposed to be acting. With that training, you're kind of containing it, but you know within your heart, man, I'm not thinking good about people around me. Right? Or something that you are doing that you know is wrong, but you're trying to control it desperately, but it's not working out. Something like that, you're very confidently revealing. So I always have these ton of things that I'm bad at. Right? So I would go and I would pray very desperately. To one of the things that I did couple of years ago was, my Lord, I have too much of dirt in my heart. Okay? And I was praying desperately to Lord Narsimha at Mayapur. I said, please, because there are so many leelas in which he's actually reciprocated by showing things in which he cleans the dirt inside the heart. So like praying in front of him. And then there are a series of incidents that happened after that, which was very purifying. Right? But way beyond my capabilities to actually handle it very well. But that's a realization. What did I pray for? What happened next? What happened next? That reciprocation is my direct connection with the Lord Himself. Right? I may not, if I start talking about with everybody, then maybe they're not able to fully understand and realize it. So there will be somebody with Him with confidence share, this is what happened. With them fully understanding and realizing it, and maybe if there is a mental speculation of mine, then the devotee trying to say, I don't think that is what it really meant, or they might help in a lot of other things. Maybe this is what it means. This is what you should be doing. Your guru was also saying something like this, etc., etc. Right? So that confidential revealing about your service to the Lord, or something about how you are serving the Lord and you're making those realizations, that is also important. Because can anybody think of a reason why? Why is it important for us to share such information also with somebody? Not with everybody, but somebody, because it says confidentially sharing it. Yes, Prabhu.
Because they will help you understand, as you said, that if it's
Yes.
actually realization or you are mentally speculating something.
Correct. It helps you realize, it also helps the other one person to be realizing how amazing the Lord is, and He actually does reciprocate. So many, there's this very nice tiny book which is available in Mayapur. So if you're, I think I have a torn, battered version of it now, but which talks about how Lord Narasimha at Mayapur has reciprocated with everybody. Everybody who's praying them, there's so many amazing ways in which He's done it. And everybody has that realization. Does that not help us in building our confidence that when we pray to the Lord, something happens? And that Lord does exist. And that when He says that if you come to me, I will reciprocate to you in the way you approach to me, and I'm going to take care of you. He says that in Bhagavad Gita. Is that not a practical example in which you can realize that? So that is where devotees help each other out with those realizations. The best part. Honoring prasadam or spiritual food given by devotees.
Don't do that.
Pass it around. Pass it around. Anyway, so has this helped us, honoring prasadam? Srila Prabhupada is going to talk about a lot about this in the purport. How is honoring prasad, accepting somebody giving you prasad, really helped us? Anybody?
Satisfy hunger.
Of course, yes. Bodily hunger, yes.
Purify us.
Purify us, because prasadam does purify our consciousness. It gives us sukriti to be able to clean our heart and get spiritual knowledge. Yes.
Also,
What else?
Develop a bond again with the devotee who actually gave prasadam.
Yes. What else?
I think I've heard Prabhupada saying that prasadam is Krishna himself, so when you're honoring it, you're having association, his association directly.
Correct. Yes. That is all that is helping you actually get the consciousness to be able to understand Krishna and be able to come to a point to serve Him. What else?
Maybe we feel blessed.
Yes, we feel blessed. That is correct. That's absolutely right. That's the so that what is the thought I'm trying to come to is, what is the way in which that blessing is actually coming to us? Apart from the fact that eating prasadam itself gives us the spiritual potency to be able to elevate ourselves, what else is happening over there? Where do we usually end up having prasad? In a restaurant?
Temple.
Temples? In some home programs? So when we are going and honoring prasadam in all of these places, who are there with us?
Devotees.
Devotee association.
So through prasadam, we are associating with devotees. That is one. And when we are in somebody's place, or when we are in the temple, and when we are in this facility where prasadam is being served, aren't we also seeing how there are others who are serving it with love and devotion? And that makes us think, oh wow, and makes us learn from them, which is devotee association. So, so direct having prasadam is obviously a mercy in itself, but it also comes with a lot of experience with respect to how devotees are serving. And it also comes with the experience of seeing, oh, this is how the services should be done. I'm doing it wrong. I should do it the right way. Right? All of those experiences. That is where, in this, it says, when a devotee distributes prasadam, remittance of the food offered to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in order to maintain a spirit of devotional service, we must accept prasadam as the Lord's grace received through pure devotees. That is how we are supposed to be accepting prasadam, that this is the mercy that I am getting through the devotees. Now, one more learning here, right? Can we just sit in the temple over there and get prasadam without devotees being there? Without anybody cooking it, without anybody offering it, without anybody serving it to the devotees, can we get prasad? So, does it not help us understand and realize that we getting the prasadam and we accepting the prasadam is a mercy of the devotees, by which they gave the mercy of the Lord to us, which also helps us understand the fact that we cannot receive mercy of the Lord without devotees. I cannot just sit in one room looking at the Lord and expect mercy to come to me. It cannot. It will never. What does Krishna say? Dasa, dasa, dasanu dasa. Till when you do not become the servant of 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 Krishna, there is no mercy being received. We have to be the devotee of the Lord. Only then can we be the devotee of the Lord. We cannot directly be a devotee of Krishna. We have to be the devotee of Krishna. So why is that? Because things like these, we cannot be receiving prasadam directly. It does not just get manifested automatically in a temple. There are devotees who cook, there are devotees who offer, there are devotees who serve it ultimately to the devotees. There are devotees who clean up afterwards also. Making all of these facilities and arrangements, these are all mercy. And the Lord's mercy is flowing through these devotees. Like for prasadam, same goes for spiritual knowledge. The parampara system, where one guru very carefully teaches the other, that parampara, that is how the knowledge has to be received. Evam paramparam praptir. That is how the knowledge needs to be received. So in every case, we are able to then realize the mercy of the devotees that comes in we getting any spiritual knowledge. Right? Next, feeding the devotees with prasadam. Any experience?
This did it.
Yes, sir.
It was my first service to serve prasadam in Sunday feast.
Jai,
And
wonderful.
Who patted on my back, called me for servings, and then
Very nice. And how did that help you?
Like that's where all that started. That's where I realized that more than eating prasadam, serving prasadam is more blissful.
Very nice.
And then I continued doing that for a long period of time, and then after that I got association of devotees, started coming more to temple, Bhagavatam classes,
Right.
with Bhakti Academy then. Yes.
Right, fantastic. See, when we are serving prasadam to devotees, there is one attitude that is associated with it, that I want to serve the devotees. Dasa, dasanu dasa. I am the servant of the servant. You are the devotee of the Lord, you are the servant of the Lord, so I am your servant, I will serve you. That is where that humble mood starts developing in, that I have to serve you. Right? Till when we don't serve the devotees, we cannot serve the Lord. Right? So that humble attitude comes in, one, that I am at that position. The other underlying benefit also is, can you serve prasadam without there being devotees? You again get devotee association. Now you will, when you're doing a home program or something, you will also invite some senior devotees, right? Right? It's a way of showing respect and stuff. They will come and they will see, and they will very lovingly say, this is what you're doing wrong, you should do it better. Is that not helping us improve? So with every service, what I'm trying to come to is, there are 6 different services, but you see, each one of them are connected with each other, and all the instructions in Nectar of Instruction are also connected with each other. All with the very same aim, it is to elevate ourselves spiritually, and the way we do that is by taking the information from an authorized parampara system, executing that knowledge, not just practically only gaining theoretical knowledge, but practically executing that knowledge in association of devotees who help you in getting mastered in that skill of doing that, while gradually elevating yourself. So all of these instructions, each one of them, that loving relationship with devotees, that is how we are supposed to be doing it for our own Krishna consciousness. Right? So 6 symptoms, let me read that again. Giving charity to the devotees, accepting for the devotee whatever they may offer in return. Opening one's mind to the devotees, inquiring from them about confidential service of the Lord, honoring prasadam or spiritual food given by the devotees, and feeding the devotees with prasadam. 6 different ways in which we can do loving relationship with the Lord. So the takeaway is, we should see how we can do all of these. Right? Build up your appetite to eat, build up your strength to serve. Both needed. Okay. Any questions, realizations, challenges?
Which one should we focus more on? Which one should we focus more on?
All of them. When a guru gives instructions, all the instructions are equally potent and equally important. There's no comparison. It's not. So when we talk about, which instruction is more important, or is it more important for me to read the scriptures or chant or serve, it's kind of more of like asking, is it more important for me to eat or drink? Or is it more important for me to take a bath, or is it more important for me to wear clean clothes? All of them are important. Each of them has their own important significance in the spiritual elevation here.
I think when we chant good, then we can't stop ourselves from reading. And when we read good, then we can't stop ourselves from
Yes, because there is so much taste in it. But that is where we have to have a very balanced sadhana. So here's the reason, right? So Srila Prabhupada, very expertly, we call him an expert because he's thought of all of these challenges. And he's very expertly, that is why given the morning program to us. Wake up in the morning, do the aartis very nicely, do all of the morning Mangal Aarti programs, do your chanting, then do the Bhagavatam classes. So he's kind of structured us a balanced diet for everything that we need for our spiritual progress. Do this, okay, now go out for book distribution, come back, take prasadam, rest somewhat, do this. The entire way he's structured, and he's going to talk about that in the purport also, the way he structured the entire teachings of his and its practical implementation is the balanced diet that we need. He's shown it how it has to be done. Because otherwise we'll just theoretically talk about how do I do this, how do I do that, this. I was again, reading and listening both about Prabhupada's glory. So I'm listening to Srila Prabhupada Leelamrita while driving these days, and I'm reading the other book, the Srila Prabhupada, this book, right? So in both of them you can very clearly see the way you were able to connect to Prabhupada and his mission and his priorities is amazing. Right? The way he balanced out everything, the way he did these loving exchanges, his god brothers were sometimes creating trouble for him by challenging him. All of them are supposed to be the disciples of the same guru, are supposed to be following the same instruction and the same teachings. But when Prabhupada came to the Western countries on the instruction of his guru to teach everybody in English, because that was the instruction to him by his guru, his god brothers did not support him at all. We can read that in the book. He's writing letters to his god brothers. I have somehow managed to reach America. This is what I'm seeing. He's giving a full report saying this is what I'm observing over here as people doing. There is this potential that exists over here. I am over here in such and such facility. I've started these regular classes once a week. There are people coming, there are boys coming in. If you are able to help me with some funds, I'll be able to rent a place for something. And he gets nothing. But he still, despite all of this, right? Despite him being challenged, despite him not being supported in the mission of his Guru Maharaj only, which his god brother should have always supported him, when he went back to India, when ISKCON had kind of become a little big and had set up in a certain way, when he went back, he still never had any envious relationship with his god brothers. Whenever they would visit him, they would lovingly invite him with honor, receive them, associate with them, serve them with prasadam, and whatever facilities he had, he extended that to respectfully, be the host for them. He still did that. So he's shown us the balance in all the aspects, in every detail of it, right? Okay, let's read the next paragraph. Let me go here. I have some things highlighted. Okay, who wants to read? Go ahead.
Even in ordinary social activities, these 6 types of dealings between two loving friends are absolutely necessary. For instance, When one businessman wishes to contact another businessman, he arranges a feast in a hotel, and over the feast openly expresses that he wishes to do. He then inquires from his business friend how he should act and sometimes present our exchange. Thus, whenever there is a dealing with preeti or love in intimate dealings, these 6 activities are executed. In the previous verse, Srila Rupa Goswami advised that one should renounce worldly association and keep company with the devotees. Sangat Tyagat Sato Vritin. The International Society of Krishna Consciousness has been established to facilitate these 6 kind of loving exchanges between devotees. This society was started single-handedly, but because people are coming forward and dealing with the give and take policy, the society is now expanding all over the world. We are glad that people are donating very liberally to the development of the society's activities. And people are also eagerly accepting whatever humble contribution we are giving them in the shape of books and magazines dealing strictly with the subject matter of Krishna consciousness. We sometimes hold Hare Krishna festivals and invite live members and friends to participate in the feasting by accepting prasad.
Let's stop there for a minute. Okay, thank you. So see, Srila Prabhupada, these questions can be asked, and we should ask them, that is okay, with the intent to understand Prabhupada's mood. Why did he set up ISKCON? Was there a need actually for it to happen? He's explaining his mood over here, and he's explaining the mood that we, when serving at ISKCON, are supposed to be having. So first thing he talks about is the fact that there are 6 loving exchanges between devotees, and for being able to facilitate that loving exchanges between devotees, ISKCON acts as an instrument. So there are so many amazing devotees around the world. There are so many different disciplines successions. One of the branch of it is of the Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is what ISKCON is. It's just the name that Srila Prabhupada gave when he came to the Western countries, but it's all Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara, right? Why did he set up this? He set up this so that the devotees can come in together and have these 6 loving exchanges, and through that assist each other out in increasing their consciousness state, and finally be coming to the point of fully surrendering to Krishna by accepting the teachings that he has given us. Right? So these association to be able to facilitate that, he wanted some place where they are able to do that. Otherwise, if everybody is in some isolation in one corner, somewhere, then that does not happen. That motivation does not come in. We always need the association of devotees to be able to do things collectively and be able to do something which is bigger. Why doing bigger is important? Because Srila Prabhupada is also explaining that it is needed for the welfare of the society overall. There's so many issues in the society that exists, and all of them exist because of one problem. What is that one problem?
Godless civilization.
Godless civilization. And why is that godless civilization also existing? It is all because of identification with the body. Till when we are in the state of not realizing that we are spirit souls and we are identifying ourselves with the body, or you are a male, you are a female, so males can do this, females cannot do this, and so on and so forth, or you are an Indian, you are an American, that race-based things, or any other aspect of problem that exists today in this society can all be attributed to the designations that we have created based on the identification with the body. As Srila Prabhupada says, all the ism, nationalism, capitalism, this ism, that ism, all of this is because we're saying, oh, this land belongs to this country and not the other country. How have we defined the countries? Based on, again, designations created for identification of the body. Every problem that exists is because people are identifying themselves with the body. Till when we do not come to the point of identifying ourselves as a spirit soul which is eternal, and not identifying ourselves with the temporary material body, there can be no solutions to the problem at all. We're just shifting things from one place to another. Oh, it's so difficult to walk, I'm going to create cars. Cars are causing pollution, I'm going to create air purifiers. Oh, batteries in all of these devices are now causing this issue, now we have this issue, now we have that issue. We're just shifting the problem. We can never solve the problem till when we don't come to the platform of spirituality. Now, Prabhupada explains that the setup of ISKCON was to make the society realize the fact that when the problems are material, the solution has to be one stage above always. You cannot solve a problem by being on the same platform, on the same level as the problem itself. The problems of Janam, Maran, Jara, Vyadhi, birth, old age, disease, death, or the threefold miseries that the material world creates in terms of Adi Devik, Adi Atmik and Adi Bhautik Kalesh, all of these different types of Kalesh that exists in the material world that troubles us is all on the platform of body, on the platform of material things. Till when the only way to solve that is to help the society go above it onto the spiritual platform, which starts with the identification of yourself as the spirit soul. Jivere Swarup Hoye Krishna Nityadas. Till when we do not come to that as the first step, the Sambandha Jnana, the first step of it, problems cannot be solved. The Vedic scriptures have very clearly articulated that. In order for us to be able to come to that higher stage ourselves, and collectively help the society to come to that stage, ISKCON was set up. And for that to work out very nicely, the 6 loving exchanges within ISKCON is very important. Okay, now there is one more thing that Srila Prabhupada talks about it here, which is again very important. Okay, fine, we are ISKCON, we are calling ourselves ISKCON, and now we are dealing with what we are calling the society, even though there is not much of a difference. It's not like a hard border that has been created within ISKCON, without ISKCON. But it is we collectively associating with each other, calling ourselves ISKCON, and then the society. That loving exchange needs to be there between ISKCON and the society also. If people from outside are giving donation, if people are visiting the temple and giving donation, and that donation is not only money, it is in terms of their physical effort, in terms of their support, in terms of their love, whatever ways the society gives support to ISKCON, that also has to be reciprocated back. How is that reciprocation happening? By giving them books for spiritual knowledge, by giving them prasadam with all the amazing glories that we talked of prasadam. All of that also has to be going back to the society. You cannot just take and sit on it. So the loving exchanges are individually between devotees within ISKCON. It is with ISKCON and the society overall also, so that everybody is able to benefit with this amazing Vedic knowledge that we have got from our parampara system. We understand that?
Yes.
Right? Any realizations, questions on that? Any challenges? No, it's an important thing. It's an important thing. We always have to reciprocate back. People are doing such wonderful things. When they come into the temple also, like there are so many amazing people who will just in some way or the other. I've seen devotees who coming in for the first time also, but they will see, oh, people have just come and kept their slippers randomly, and they will just do a little bit of arrangement of what they're able to do. Even that's amazing service. That also has to be reciprocated back in some way or the other. The love people come with within the temple has to be reciprocated back. That is the teachings that we are supposed to be doing always. Okay? Who wants to continue? From the next, although, go ahead, please.
Where did we stop?
Although most of
our members come from the higher rungs of society, they nonetheless come and take whatever little prasad we are able to offer them. Sometimes the members and supporters inquire very confidentially about the methods of performing devotional service, and we try to explain this. In this way, our society is successful, spreading all over the world, and the intelligentsia of all countries is gradually appreciating our Krishna conscious activities. In the life of Krishna conscious societies, in the life of the Krishna conscious societies, loving exchange among the members. Therefore, people must be given the chance to associate with the devotees of ISKCON, because simply by reciprocating in the 6 ways mentioned above, an ordinary man can fully revive his dormant Krishna consciousness. In Bhagavad Gita 2.62, it is stated, Sangat Sanjayate Kama. One's desires and ambitions develop according to the company one keeps. It is often said that a man is known by his company. And if an ordinary man associates with devotees, he will certainly develop his dormant Krishna consciousness. The understanding of Krishna consciousness is innate in every living entity, and it is already developed to some extent when the living entity takes a human body. It is said in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya 22.107, Nitya Siddha Krishna Prema Sadhya Kavunaya.
We do it all together.
Shravanandi Sudha
Nitya
Kichite
Siddha Krishna Prema
Udaya.
Pure love for Krishna is eternally established in the hearts of the living entities. It is not something to be gained from another source. When the heart is purified by hearing and chanting, the living entity naturally awakens.
Let's stop there for a second, right? So the first thing that Prabhupada is talking about is the fact that, and again, when we're reading Prabhupada Leelamrita and other books, we'll see so many such examples. He's saying that the people coming in to ISKCON are from very different ranks. And there's so many people coming in and who are supporting very nicely are coming in from very intellectual backgrounds or very wealthy backgrounds also. So I can think of when I was listening to this part where ISKCON Mayapur project was under construction. It was a construction site in its own. There's just floor and there was just straw huts and stuff like that. Very, very wealthy families in India, like multimillionaire types, very well-known families, would visit Prabhupada at that time also. And they would very humbly accept the love that devotees would reciprocate to them by inviting them and offering whatever little place or whatever kind of place they had. Now, these people are used to luxury, but they would still humbly accept whatever was being given. So, does that mean that we are not supposed to be doing things at the top-notch standard? We are supposed to. Prabhupada emphasizes that again and again. When we are not, it is not because, let me just clarify that, right? We are not supposed to be doing things top class, like having the best of the temple constructions, having the best of the deity worship, having the most beautiful setups ever, the most grand setups ever, only to show that we are doing things amazingly. No, that's not the point. The point here is that when we are serving Krishna, the service of Krishna needs to be top class. Why do we say, and why like people ask this question sometimes, why is so much money spent on deity worships? So much of costs of flowers and other paraphernalia activities like amazing beautiful dresses for the deities which are very expensive. Why spend so much of money? It is because people in general, including us, are always attracted to beautiful things. And beautiful things, our perspective and understanding is materialistic. So till when the deity worship is not opulent and beautiful, people will not come and appreciate the deities and get attracted to Krishna. So that service has to be top class. Not because we have to show ourselves as being the best in the world. Which in one sense, if you go to see the deity worship standards within ISKCON is one of the highest and most beautiful. Not saying that it's the only one, because I've seen some amazing places otherwise also, but the deity worship standards within ISKCON around the world is top class. And that is only with the intention that everybody, when they come, they should be able to have the beautiful darshan of the Lord and get attracted to it. So that the attraction is to Krishna. That's the objective, that's the teaching. Right? So when all of these things top class is being done, it is done with the intention to serve the society. That always has to be remembered. So therefore one of the instructions also in our parampara always has been, whenever you are organizing a program, there has to be a prasadam. Even if it is tiny. Even if you are able to do a little tiny thing, there always has to be prasadam. There always has to be a loving exchange. There's just one beautiful thing that Prabhupada used to do. And I'll share an incident of that from my Guru Maharaj's memoir also. You might have seen videos. Prabhupada, when he would get down of the car, he would give one flower to the devotee and the devotee would give him one flower. He would do that saying there has to be a loving exchange, this part of giving a gift and receiving a gift. Right? So he would walk down with devotees on both the sides. With every individual, he will give them a flower. and take them a flower, put it back into the basket, and give somebody else a flower, and then take and put it back into the basket. He would walk down and he would do that, take his time to do it. Now, just to show this aspect from a other side of who were receiving it, because in Prabhupada Leela Amrita and everything we've been said what Prabhupada used to do. So my Guru Maharaj writes in his memoir about such an incident where he was there in this line and he was at the very starting, he receives the flower and he's looking at it with love and says, oh my, I've got a flower from Prabhupada, what do I do? Right? But I'm still not satisfied, I want to see Prabhupada even more. So what he does was, he gets out of the queue and goes to the last end and stands back into the queue. Now Prabhupada walks down and he's in eye-to-eye contact with Prabhupada again. And Prabhupada is like showing him a flower. You want a flower? You got one? And he waves, he says, I got it. He's saying, I don't want to cheat him that I've not received one. So I'm not going to cheat you, but I really wanted to see you again. But then he talks of that afterwards and says, this is funny incident. I've got this flower and I'm a brahmachari. I don't have like a possession to keep it very safe and secure somewhere forever as a memory. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? I have to preserve this. I have to understand. I have to always be able to connect with it. What did he do? He ate it. I'll preserve it inside my body. So that is loving exchange. Right? And when that, through these incidents that Prabhupada always did, he's created that love with everybody. You read all the books that describes Prabhupada as its starting, end, anywhere. The one thing that always people remember is the love he gave. That is what we are supposed to be doing. We are a movement of love. We're not a movement of anything else. We're not fanatics, we're not anything else, it's a movement of love. Okay? So, all of these incidents. Okay, let me just one more Leela that somebody told in the class. I'm forgetting the full details of it, but it is very important. Why these loving exchanges is also important. Why we as part of the society, if we have been getting the bhakti beej, it is important for us to in some way or the other reciprocate with others with that is also important, right? So once this incident was being talked about by a devotee in a class, I think it was in some temple in India, and he was telling, I was super depressed. I was so depressed and had given up on life so to the extent that on one day, I went into my house, closed the doors, and decided to end life. Okay? Exactly, that is what he was trying. He's tying something to the fan and something, I'm going to hang myself and go to die. And when he was doing that, there's a knock that happens on the door. Like, come on, man, nobody lets me die in peace also. Anyways, he decided, I don't know what, let me just attend to this. There's a devotee who used to live next door to him. He comes over and says, you know what, I don't know why. I really was doing deity worship right now. And I just felt like I should offer milk to the Lord. And I realized I don't have any. Do you have some that you can spare? And I will offer it to the Lord. And he says, I'm going to be dying anyways. The milk is going to go bad. It's okay. I'm just going to give him. It's okay. Whatever. He gave the milk. The devotee went back and was offering to the Lord and everything. And now this person, he comes back inside, closed the doors again and said, hey, let me just finish the mission that I was on. And I'm forgetting the detail after that exactly how he comes to that point where he says Krishna talked to him and said, how can I let you die when you just gave me milk? Just that loving exchange between neighbors in some shape or the form led to him to come to that point where he said, you accept, when did I give you milk? So you just gave that devotee the milk and he offered it to me, so you gave me the milk. I can't let you die. Right? So that loving exchange that happened between these two extended to the loving exchange of this person connecting to Krishna, and he became a surrendered devotee of the Lord. Right? Things like these happen. There's so many countless experiences of such incidents. Right? So all of these things are not theory, are actually practical. If we go around, our own realizations will support that as a fact. So when he's saying that the pure love for Krishna is established in the hearts of the living entities. That is true by these loving exchanges. But it can only be done only and only if we stick to the instructions. We cannot be empowered without. Why was Srila Prabhupada able to go against all odds of being able to come and set up and preach to the extent where he was? The number of books he's published in that short duration of time, the number of lectures he's given, the recorded sessions, the number of administrative challenges like the Vrindavan temple challenges, the Juhu temple challenges, all of that he faced and did, and all the amazing personal encounters that he's given with everybody. How is that even possible? You sum up all of that time. So one devotee once did that calculation. There's so much of minutes of recordings of lectures available, and so much of books transcribed recordings are available, etc., etc. He said Prabhupada slept for 2 hours a day, barely. Why did he take all of this pain? Because he wanted to give us all of these things. And he was able to do that only because he was completely surrendered to the instructions of his Guru. He is faithfully following them. So if we faithfully follow this aspect of being loving with each other, exchanging with each other confidentially where we stand, take help from each other, give help to each other, loving exchanges in all aspects, it will only and only boost our Krishna consciousness like anything. It will be a rocket. It will go up. Okay? I think we can stop here for today. We'll just take 2 minutes more for any other questions, realizations that anyone has or anything. Do you have any thoughts on the topic?
No.
You're joining us for the first time, right?
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
So this, just to let you know, this setup is basically a Bhakti Academy setup, where all of these amazing people, they gather. We do reading of scriptures, and they're doing so many other wonderful services. Everything that we talk about, they're practically implementing it very nicely, with lovingly doing it collectively. And so feel free to inquire.
Yeah, sure.
And
actually, I'm living in Niagara Falls.
Oh,
so I'm coming
fantastic.
from there.
Oh, nice.
So I don't think I can come every day, but yeah, on
So Niagara Falls also, we have a Sunday program over there
really.
in Niagara also. So we have an ISKCON Niagara program which happens every Sunday. You can get connected and those details can be shared with you also. But otherwise also, there are a lot of things. They have an online presence also. Feel free to get connected with that
Yeah,
also.
for sure. I would love to.
Yeah? Fantastic. Anybody has realizations or questions? Yep. All right. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Rupa Goswami ki jai. Yascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patita nam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Jai ho.
Throughout the lecture, you were just reminding me of Sri Shobha Vilas.